Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another session of 360 SOC with Chris Hickelson, CEO and founder of 360 SOC. Today I'm going to talk about a few different topics, but most primarily I'm going to talk about SOAR. But to recap who 360 SOC is, I'd first like to talk about the three things that we do very well. Number one is we offer SOAR. SOAR is typically designed for the enterprise space, but we have a creative offer which branches out into the SMB, which I can talk about here in a second. Other things are like SOC as a service. MDR could be grouped in with that as well, but that consists of SIM, UEBA, NDR, EDR, and vulnerability management, leveraging the power of SOAR as well. And then there's the MDR solution, which can be carved up in several different ways to meet your needs as a customer, or if you're a partner for your partner customers. So let's branch over and talk a little bit about SOAR. So first thing is, what is SOAR? Security, orchestration, automation, and response. SOAR is the new buzzword. A lot of SIMs, a lot of tools out there have SOAR capabilities built into them. But there are some solutions out there that are purely a SOAR. A pure play platform designed around being able to do things like incident response or reporting, or it could be runbooks, or it could be using automation to power your SOC. So let's talk about a few of the things that you can do with SOAR. So SOAR, one of the great things that I have found is incident response is something that SOAR really helps streamline. And how it does that is it gives the ability to use, various technology via an API. And what you're doing is you're making calls or puts, or gets against those APIs in order to get things for a response when it comes time for incident response. Now, that could be in several different manners. That could be a proactive approach. An example of something that would be proactive would be, leveraging automation to do things like whitelist or blacklist IPs or URLs. It could be, again, in a reactive state after an analyst, or if you're an MDR customer of ours, after our SOC analyst has already touched it, or a threat hunter or an escalation team has already touched that alert, they potentially might want to use things like the API to make calls to remediate some of their findings. Other things that it can do are it bridges the gap from an enrichment standpoint. And when I say bridges, when I talk about enrichment, I have all this data, whether it's vulnerability data, whether it's my firewall data, whether it's my endpoint DLP data, whatever it might be. I have all these technologies. And what SOAR does is it gives me the ability to get them all into one viewpoint, but also be able to leverage them in the best or most efficient manner. Other things that SOAR does really well is things like reporting. Being able to do reports that are focused on the executive. Could be a business leader that wants to see things like ROI, cost savings, or it could be reporting when it comes to things like vulnerabilities for somebody that's like a system admin, or potentially somebody who's working on vulnerabilities from a day-to-day. All that can be found in the power of SOAR. Some of the other things that you can do that, when you start getting into a more advanced state of SOAR, are doing things where we effectively are taking an alert, right? And when the alert comes in, whether that's from your SIM, or it's from your NDR, or it's from your EDR, whatever it is, whatever the source is, I take the alert and then I can parse out the data I want, whether that's the IP, or whether that's the hash, or the domain. And when I take that, I then can send that up to threat intel, right? That great word, threat intelligence. Once I get that threat intel back, I then can query backwards, and maybe I want to query back to those things like the SIM or the NDR so I can capture that metadata to enrich my investigation. That's the things that SOAR does, and that's the power of SOAR. If you're interested in learning more about SOAR and you're interested in learning more about SOC or MDR, I would love the opportunity to show you a demo, do a POC, see what we find. You know, no guarantee that we're going to find anything, but typically what we do find is a lot of hygiene. And we can do that with our technologies, and we can do that with the power of SOAR, and we can really show you a different way to manage security. My name is Chris Ickelson, 360 SOC, power of SOAR, MDR, SOC, and security advisory services. Right here, waiting for you to get back to us with your unique use case. We'd love to build a custom box for you. Our solutions are highly competitive, whether you're 20 employees or whether you're 10,000. We have a solution that meets your needs, your price point, and will help bridge the security gap, leveraging things like the power of automation in our award-winning team. Thank you again for the opportunity. My name is Chris Ickelson, founder and CEO of 360 SOC. Thank you again.